Good afternoon, as we welcome you to an interesting session from now till 2 o'clock. This is Creek 106.5 FM in Yeregoa, and this is a special program where we'll be sharing with you. There is room for interactivity, questions, answers, and observations. In the course of the program, you will be fully involved as we take off, because together we can make up this program to better the society we're living in. I must let you know at this point that this is the first program, as far as we are concerned, the introduction to the United Nations Democracy Fund, UNDEF. We are taking off today. I have the pleasure to be here, and I will introduce my guests very appropriately when we look at the background. Against the background, then we'll take off. Elections in Nigeria are most times characterized by electoral violence, fraud, and manipulation, usually perpetrated by corrupt members of the political parties or class in connivance with compromised electoral officials, state and non-state security actors. The 2019 general election cycle in Bayelsa State recorded a number of incidents relating to these variables, which resulted in loss of lives and property, disenfranchisement of voters, abductions, bodily injuries, and general insecurity. Consequently, the project is designed to contribute to the reversal of the above by sensitizing and educating citizens on violence-free 2019 Bayelsa State Gubernatorial poll, as well as building the capacity of INEC staff and its ad hoc personnel, party agents, and potential voters so as to be able to prevent electoral fraud. A conducive security atmosphere in the state is required for active citizen participation in the November 16, 2019 election. Therefore, our discussion will revolve around the following. Well, I'd like to introduce the guests who are seated in the studio already with me. And they are Samuel Agboola, Project Team Lead, and Joseph Ekong, Project Officer. Gentlemen, you're welcome to this special edition of the program.
Thank you very much.
My name is Aiba Tonye Wulbila, and with you, we will make the program a success. At the appropriate time, we will give you the telephone numbers that will link you to the studio to be part of the program. But then give us time so that the guests will give us the full resume of today's program. Agboola, I want to start with you. Can we have an insight into what Stakeholder Democracy Network, SDN, is into?
Thank you very much. Once again, I want to welcome everybody in Bayelsa State today's program. SDN is an acronym for Stakeholder Democracy Network. It's an international non-governmental organization that has worked in the Niger Delta for over a decade. Precisely 2004, SDN started work in the Niger Delta. And we work to promote the rights of people. We build people's capacity to demand for their rights in a non-violent way. We also strive as much as possible to ensure that communities that were adversely affected by the activities of extractive industries get a better deal in the operations that affect their livelihood, environment, and their operations. So we build people's capacity. We ensure that we have responsive governance so that there is going to be transparency, accountability in the Niger Delta and Nigeria as a whole. And in doing that, we have 4 thematic areas. 1, we work in the area of environment to promote peaceful environment, because we discovered that activities of extractive industries has adversely affected our environment. So what SDN does is to ensuring that the regulations and all the laws are done in a way that people that were affected get a better deal. In the area of governance, we encourage that we're ensuring that we have a responsive government, whereby people people participated in issues that affect them in the environment. Then we have in the area of economic diversification. We discover over time that Niger Delta people have only dependent on oil, and as a result of that, it has led to various conflicts in communities, even in the state. So we are looking at a way through which SDN aims to ensure that people diversify the economy, going into area of agriculture, area of digital economy, area of power, in a way that people will be gainfully employed. Then lastly, in the area of environment, I've mentioned environment, governance, economic diversification, and the last one, which has to do with security and stabilization. This is an area whereby SDN work with individuals, we work with community leaders to ensure that there is peace, ensuring that we mediate in a peaceful way, so that people in the region will live peaceably, and to ensuring that there is cooperation and coexistence. Thank you.
Oh yes, I want to sound as somebody who is very ignorant. Of course, that is what I am as far as the activities of SDN are concerned. The Stakeholder Democracy Network. You just informed us this program has been working for the past decade. Where were you as far as we are concerned? I am asking, as I said, I am ignorant. Where have your activities? How have you been impacting the people of the Niger Delta? Ekong, can you take off from there?
Okay, thank you very much. Before I address that, your question, it is also important to inform listeners that SDN has been in the region, talking about the Niger Delta region, since 2004. And we've worked in virtually all the states in the region here. Just recently, we've even extended our coverage to the southwest, western parts of the country, talking about states like Ekiti and others. You asked about the impact that we've made. We've been able to coordinate and empower communities to be resilient, to confront, or let me not use the word confront, to be able to engage critical stakeholders, cutting across state and non-state actors. Under the state actors, communities that we've engaged have been able to reach out to ministries, relevant ministries that are constitutionally responsible for the provision of certain needs, in the communities. And of course, when we talk about non-state actors, like the IOCs, talking about international oil companies and other companies that are duty-bound to discharge their corporate social responsibilities in the communities where they operate. So this is one of the ways that we've been able to impact on communities and individuals in areas that we've worked over the years.
Yes, Stakeholder Democracy Network. When you're talking about the extractive industries, their activities, how they impact the community, host communities, and the level of improvement of living standards of the inhabitants of such communities. Sometimes I wonder, because most of the communities we're talking about, too, sometimes are even worse off. That is host communities.
Maybe those ones are those that we've not engaged before or yet.
Then you have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
All right. Let's look at it this way. Please, can you kindly share the project's implementation plan with the listener in respect to electioneering activities?
Okay, thank you very much. It is also important that we inform the listeners that this project is actually targeting the 2019 Bayelsa State Governorship elections. Not just the elections, but the entire cycle of the elections. So what we intend doing is to implement this project in 3 targeted local government areas, namely Ogbia, Sagbama, and Southern Ijo. And in this particular 3 local governments, 3 communities will be selected based on the studies that we've conducted in the past. And we are not going to do that as SDN. We are going to partner with a local civil society organization in the state here, known as Bayelsa State Non-Governmental Organization. So that is part of our implementation plan. We are going to also, in these particular communities, we are going to conduct sensitization programs to educate voters in those communities, for them to be able to know their rights, know how to protect their mandate during elections, and also know the need of not getting involved in violence and fraud during the elections. Again, we are going to use the mass media, and that's exactly what we are doing now, to reach out to the entire citizens in the state, because since we will be focusing on only 3 LGAs, it is pertinent that we reach out to other parts of the state through the mass media. We are also going to use the new media, Facebook and Twitter, to reach out, to the youth and other segments of the population.
As laudable as this program is, when you're talking about the cycle of elections in Bayelsa State, you have barely 9 days to one segment of the elections.
Okay.
Don't you think you are coming too late?
No. We've been on ground. It's just that we are just kickstarting the radio component.
The radio component
of it
is commencing today.
Today. We've been on ground for the past 2 months, and we've been working behind the scene to reach out to critical stakeholders in the state.
Okay. What informed your choice of the 3 local governments as your focus?
Okay. It is interesting to let our listeners to know that just recently we implemented almost a similar project. It was an election observation project known as the Niger Delta Watch 2019 project. That particular project covered the entire state. We had observers trained and deployed to all the 8 LGAs within the state, based on our reports, because the way the project was formatted was in such a manner that every week we got reports from the observers we deployed to these 8 LGAs. So based on our reports and other research that we made during the project, we were able to find out that this particular these 3 LGAs are among the hotspots, in the state. So that's why we are targeting those 3 in order to minimize and mitigate the likelihood of electoral violence, fraud, and manipulation.
Okay.
Then, in addition to that, we believe that the radio component of the project will be extended to everybody in the state, and part of the sensitization that we are going to carry out will also cover almost all the local government areas.
Okay. Please, are you in any way partnering with the local civil society organizations in the state?
Okay, part of the program design at the inception was that we have mapped out that we are partnering with the popular Bangor Bayelsa non-governmental organization. They have been on ground in the state, and it's a coalition of different organizations that work in different thematic areas, and based on their expertise, based on their experience, based on the fact that they have worked in different terrains in the local government, we believe that they are best positioned to partner with, and we are using that opportunity to reach out to them. And apart from that, we believe that Bangor has also done similar work during the last project. We have engaged them in previous projects. Then in the last March 2019 election, they observed election in almost all the LGAs in the state. So they are best positioned, and based on that, we believe that they can adequately carry out the sensitization that we are meant that they should carry out in the 3 LGAs for us.
Okay, let's look at the different segments as far as the electorate are concerned.
Okay.
In your view, since you've been on ground over a decade, which segment is more vulnerable? The youth, children, and the menfolk?
The youth.
Can you please expatiate?
Yes, because this is the most active phase of any human being. You know, the youth have been utilized in perpetuating most of the biases associated with our electoral process, and not that they are always willing to, but because you know, the corrupt members of the political class in this climb do it intentionally. You know, first of all, they have many strategies in doing that. They will make sure that the youth are not educated. You know, they will make cost of education very high, so that those from the poor families, backgrounds, will not be able to afford a quality education, and by so doing, be able to liberate themselves from the shackles of ignorance. You know, so that's what our politicians do, and by so doing, they are always available as tools to be used during this period. And the unfortunate part of it is that after using them during this electoral cycle, they will dump them, you know. And I believe by now our youth are supposed to learn a lot of lessons, because they have been used and dumped in the past. You know, they shouldn't allow themselves to be used as we approach the next election cycle in the state.
Yes, you've talked about engaging the communities effectively.
Yeah.
I want to believe all the 8 local government areas, that was where the focal 3 local governments came in.
Yeah.
Apart from partnering with Bankoff, do you have foot soldiers to continue the crusade even when you are not on ground?
Okay, it's not only like he said, Bankoff is a conglomerate of so many civil society organizations, you know.
Non-political,
you know. So they have organizations, I think it should be more than 40, 50, you know, on ground. So Bankoff is just a platform. By engaging Bankoff, we are engaging other civil society organizations in the state. And after the engagement, our target is that, and our target and expectation is that after the project, after empowering them through the project, they will be able to continue with the gospel, you know, of non-violence, even after the end of the project. So that is one of our strategies, you know, and it was very strategic for us to engage Bankoff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Agboola, let's look at it this way.
Okay.
After sensitizing this segment of society, the people who are to be held responsible in most cases are the key players.
Yes.
That is the politicians themselves.
Yeah.
Is there any forum where you engage them to cross-pollinate ideas?
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. I believe that part of our engagement, you know, we mentioned the Bankoff that we are engaging as a coalition of NGOs, but we have several stakeholders that we are working with, and the INEC itself in Bayelsa, they are very key stakeholders that we are going to engage on this project. We are going to train the INEC, that we also train the ad hoc staff that we go to the field during the election. Apart from that, we are working with the security officers We have met with their PRO. We have they have given us the assurance that when the time for their own training comes, that we should keep them informed. So part of what we are doing, we are working with key stakeholders, the HINEC, the security officers, even the political parties. They have a coalition, IPAC. We have met with them. We are also, it's going to be a continuous process because we know that they are going towards the election now. And part of what we do is to see how we also train them so that during the election there are going to be less interference. We want to ensure that the party agents that were not registered did not interfere during the election. Then apart from that, to ensure that there is little report of violence, whereby people, the voters themselves, they'll be confident to come out openly to exercise their franchise and to ensure that the level of voter apathy that was recorded in the previous elections were improved upon.
Let's take another crucial point, and this is the monetary inducements during elections. And if you don't appeal to the conscience of the people, whatever you do will be in futility. How do you engage the people trying to dissuade and appeal to their consciences in selling their votes?
Thank you very much. I believe you were trying to talk about vote buying.
No, of course.
Okay.
Any way you want to put it.
Okay. All right. Just like I said earlier on, it is a deliberate ploy by our politicians, political leaders, if you may, to impoverish the population so that they will be vulnerable during times like this, because it will be very difficult for somebody who is hungry to reject maybe 500 or 1,000 naira. But even with that, I want to appeal to the citizens that even at the point of hunger, we should be rational in taking decisions, because we are talking about a recruitment process that will produce or that will lead to the emergence of people who will govern us, people who will lead us. If you sacrifice your conscience, on the altar of receiving 1,000 naira or 5,000 naira,
Stomach infrastructure.
that means in the next 4 years you'll be in bondage. So it is important that we, liberate our minds, be rational in choosing the caliber of leaders that can take us away from the state we are, the state of unemployment, state of poverty, state of insecurity, to the fast lane of development, good governance, in the state. It is very important. We shouldn't allow monetary inducement to cloud our sense of judgment when it comes to voting during the elections.
In case you're just joining us, you are onto Stakeholder Democracy Network. They are putting this program together with you to make for better elections. And when the elections are better, then democracy will thrive and the dividends will be harnessed by all. In case you have a question you want to join us at this point, the studio line is 0806 601 6694. Again, 0806 601 6694. I want to appeal to you. When you call and you're able to break in, please just give us your name and the location you are calling from. And ensure that you concentrate on the area we are dealing with. We're not talking about candidates, campaigns, and all that. No, it's different from all of that. It is to ensure that you behave yourself as a Bayelsan or somebody in the Niger Delta, even if you are not So long as you are domiciled in any part of the Niger Delta, it's your responsibility to make sure that it works. It is a collective responsibility and to make Nigeria better for all of us. And so, just identify yourself, contribute. In your locality, you have the youth and people like that. Somebody's already there. Hello?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Your name and where you're calling from?
Yes, David calling from America.
David.
Yeah,
Go ahead, sir.
I want to know the process in shortlisting the adult and to work in the election. Because I found that the names are being published, but only a Niger government is being published in the vice state. But I am hearing as a woman that the names are being published in the local government respectively. How is that? How is that being done?
Okay, yeah, David, yeah. Okay.
To make sure that you see if your name is shortlisted or not. Is that the way to do it, or is there another thing, or I don't understand.
Okay.
Okay.
You know that your name is there before you go down to your locality to partake in the training. But I think that training is even going on now, and the name I don't know where to be found. I said to travel down to your locality. Is that true?
Okay, please, it's for you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the caller is mixing up issues. I don't think that question is targeted at the November 16 elections. Maybe there's local government elections that is coming up. I think I heard something like that.
Yeah.
On the 10th of this month.
Yes, okay.
Yeah,
I think
that's
the caller
the
was
one
referring to
referring
that
to,
one.
Okay.
We are not targeting that particular election.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the governorship elections that this project is designed for.
Okay, David, I hope you are better educated now. It is not for the local government elections that will be due in 9 days' time.
And the names of the ad hoc staff have not been shortlisted for now.
Okay?
That's for
For
November.
for the
16
global election.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, David, I hope you've gotten them. It is better to make these clarifications because there could be a mix-up very easily
Yeah.
if we don't sound it clearly.
And I think in subsequent editions of this program, we'll have the pleasure of featuring INEC officials so that they can properly utilize this platform to educate and inform the voters and other members of the public with regards to the forthcoming governorship elections.
That'll be fine.
Yes.
Yes, as we continue, David, I just asked a question and it has been clarified. Let's look at it from another perspective as far as voter apathy is concerned. You made use of the word very, very porously. What are the elements or the factors that will induce voter apathy?
Okay.
By your own understanding, because you've been on ground.
Yes. Thank you very much. It is a common knowledge that when the electoral space is characterized by insecurity, there's no sane human being that will want to come out to participate. So insecurity contributes hugely to voter apathy that we've been witnessing, in the past years. In order to increase the level of citizen participation in elections, we have to really ensure that security is guaranteed for both the voters, electoral officials, even the security agents. Some of them, because why some of the security agents are usually scared on the election day is because the law does not allow them to carry arms. So they are equally vulnerable on election day, likewise the voters and the citizens. So the direction to go is to ensure that we provide security within our various communities. We shouldn't leave it in the hands of state security agencies alone. The communities, the traditional institutions, and other members of the communities have a role to play in ensuring that the electoral space is safe for active citizen participation in elections and other aspects of the electoral process.
Please, to an extent, the traditional institution is handicapped because there are no legal provisions for them to really pin down certain aspects of exercises concerning state or national. They are equally a part of the vulnerable group in a situation where the youth from maybe other communities may come in armed to disrupt elections. What do they do?
Okay, thank you very much. I think what has happened over the years is because the traditional rulers, most of them, have been involved in politics. They have been partisan, you know.
Their rules are not well defined.
Yes, and of course, it is high time that we revamp and resuscitate the traditional means of policing our communities. Before the advent of colonialism and the accompanying state structures that came with it, the communities were able to police their environment, you know, and they have traditional mechanisms of doing that, even of settling conflicts within their domains. So it is important that we go back, you know, to the old days and resuscitate those existing traditional structures. We shouldn't depend solely on state institutions to protect, to provide law and order in our domains. It is very important.
Then I think in addition to the point that you mentioned, the issue of fake news is very, very key. Sometimes we discover over time that part of the reason why people don't come out freely to vote as a result of apathy that you mentioned, that when a particular group realize that...
Okay, Mr. Agboola, please. We have a caller on the line.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
The voice of the Creek side is calling from Ogbia Freetown, the land of milk and honey.
Oh, my God.
My comment is based on the vote buying.
Okay, vote buying.
The vote buying issue. It is very hard to stop, eradicate vote buying because you can't be a farmer like me as a fisherman. Then on that day, I will sacrifice my daily activities, my fishing activities, then go to vote for somebody that will go and earn some millions and billions of naira without caring for my life, either giving us the necessary commodities like water, electricity, and road. Then I sacrifice my daily bread with my children and everything in the house. Then I will go there, then I will have nothing to eat. Unless the INEC come out with a policy that if they are going to vote there, that the government is going to provide like 1,000 naira to 2,000 to each of the voters. Before somebody cannot say, it can only say that you will not collect money from somebody. If not, at least you have to eat now. You said you know. You can't just remain like that and say throughout the day you just sacrifice yourself without eating, without your children eating, then you go and vote for somebody that will not even know you the next day when he's in power. So this is one thing I'm just trying to say that it's very hard to stop that. Thank you.
All right. Let me quickly respond to
educating.
Yes. Let me quickly respond to the issue that the last caller raised. You know, sometimes I feel ashamed to be called a Niger Deltan because of this recurring entitlement mentality. I've been to other parts of the country. It is not like this. We shouldn't be paid for everything. the government, the state is creating an opportunity for you to come out and choose who your leader should be.
For 4 years.
For 4 years. And you are requesting for 1,000 naira.
One day.
You can make a little sacrifice that can change, you know, the future, your own future, that of your children and your great-grandchildren. That's the problem we are having in this region. Everything, we always feel entitled for everything. It's not everything that we should get paid for, you know. So I'm not happy when I hear.
Okay, Ekong, there's somebody again.
Okay.
Hello. Yeah. Good afternoon. Hello. It's like we lost him or her.
So, like I was saying, sometimes I'm not.
Yeah. Hello. Is there? Hello. Okay.
Hello.
Uh-huh.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Yeah. Good afternoon.
Yes, your name and where you're calling from.
I remain Perolotu Alfio Sangbari, the champion of adults and brother with life.
Okay, Angbari. Okay. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I really greet you and the great guest. Indeed, this program is very much worthwhile as Bayelsa State delve into the forthcoming local government election as well as the almighty global election by November.
Okay.
So we really need more of such enlightenment in various radio stations scattered in this. So please, the guests here, I want them to talk more on violence as regards the youth as well as the would-be global aspirants. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Parangmari. Okay.
Thank you very much. I believe that part of what we have lined up ahead of this program is public awareness. That is very, very key to the forthcoming election that we are talking about. We are going to have different sensitization, awareness creation, engaging with the youth, because it's very, very key. I was trying to mention the other time that when fake news are spreading across, sometimes it scares people from coming out to vote. For instance, when a particular youth realize that a candidate is getting upper hand in a particular local government, they can spread fake news that, okay, there is going to be violence, there is going to be boys armed with guns and so on and so forth. And as a result, people will be scared.
Agboola, let's wait for this caller to come in. Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Angel Robert, calling from Yenagua.
Okay, Angel Robert.
This vote buying we talk of. We only talk of the ordinary people, the common people. Now, this is a primary election that will take place among the parties, the delegates. You see that one person or the party will now mobilize all the assembly members, all the councillors, all the commissioners to vote for one particular person. And before that, they make sure they give them money. What are you going to call down? Is it not vote buying? Is it only the general election that when somebody gives person 500, is that the only vote buying? What of the one that, just as I said, they will just organize everybody to just vote for one single particular person. If you vote for another person, they will not locate you as if you are the... How are we going to describe that one? Thank you. God bless you.
Okay.
Let me quickly respond to that. Vote buying is vote buying. No matter the scale, no matter the level, it is criminal. It is now left for you to decide whether to sell your conscience or not. You can choose to collect the money, but that shouldn't influence your choices as a rational voter. That's what we are preaching. Because in analyzing this, we discover that sometimes your refusal to even collect this money can expose you to a certain level of risks.
As an enemy.
Yes, they will know that, oh, this guy, and they will come after you. So in order to avert or mitigate that impending danger, if you choose to collect, you can collect. But when it is time for you to take that critical decision, you know what to do.
Yeah.
That's what we are saying.
Okay. Yes, Agboola, you are still on.
Yeah, just to support what you have mentioned, we can record critically in one state during the March 2019 election where candidates spend money to ensure that he win the election. But at the end, people still voted for candidate of their choice.
Yeah.
And eventually he lost.
That's it.
So these are part of things we are trying to sensitize people, creating awareness that people should learn how to stand on their right, to know what to do, because the future has a lot to do with. The next 4 years will determine where we are going. It will determine our future. It will determine the children and the unborn ones. So we really need to take a critical step, not minding the little amount they are going to give us, that we just spend without using it for any tangible things. Thank you.
Okay. You may wish to collect the money, but vote
Don't
according
say
to your conscience.
Yes.
That's it.
All right.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, this is Bright Ken on the line.
Oh, Bright. Where are you calling us from?
Yeah, I'm precisely calling from Ritalin here in Yenengwa.
Okay, sir, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I would want to thank you people for this wonderful enlightenment and sensitization. I think it's a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah, then after that, I would want to contribute on the area of vote buying. I think I do not agree with what the previous caller said about the vote buying. I think if there is any way we can stop the issue of vote buying, we should try and stop it, because it destroys the political system of the nation.
Yes.
I would have even loved that it becomes a law. I believe it is even a law, but I think we are breaking.
Hello?
Particularly looked at. Then apart from that, we should also know that whether vote buying or no vote buying, who are really the good leaders? That is another question. Who are those good leaders? Who are the good leaders? Whether you are collecting money and you are not collecting money. If you give your vote to somebody that you believe that can work very well, are you sure that the person is going to work very well? And we are talking about Nigerians. These are some of the things that is making, I think, the shallow-minded persons to sacrifice their interests on the altar of money. So please, there should be some laws guiding the political system whereby if you promise and you refuse to do it, you should be held liable at the end of the day. I think this is my contribution. Thank you for your sensitization.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. If we are to tell ourselves the truth, we know who the good or would-be good leaders are in our various communities. I know, I know good leaders in my community. For example, I know who is a thief. I know who is a rapist. I know who is an adulterer in my community. So it is high time we start telling ourselves the truth. In our various communities, we know who good leaders are. It's because we are being beclouded by the sense of this monetary inducement. You know, everybody wants to be rich overnight. That's why we are blinded of, you know, most of these things. Let's go back to our various communities. All these people that are contesting now for governorship seats in the state, they are from communities. Those communities should be able to stand up and say, we know you are not capable of leading the state. That's where it starts from. So we know who the good leaders are in our various communities.
You see, in the Nigerian context, in advanced climes, yes, if you promise and you don't perform, you could be recalled.
That's true.
Or in fact, there are certain institutions that will take responsibility over you.
Yeah.
But here, the system is such that anybody who has money in his community, he belongs to a ward, everybody worships him. Because he has built a fine house. He was the one that, or she was the one that sank a borehole. He provided certain things for the community. Even if he's very bad, he has become an angel. So it is even from the ward, his family people that will propagate him. So how do we do it?
that's why I'm still referring us to the communities, because that's where it starts from. Our value system has been destroyed beyond redemption.
Oh, beyond redemption?
Yes.
If it is beyond, then
Yes,
do we have any
yes.
hope?
It will take concerted effort and the willingness of the citizens to revive our value system once again to work. You know, if we don't do that, then we'll continue to be in trouble, because like what the other caller asked about, if there are good people, there are good leaders in our various communities, but simply because they don't have money to perpetuate vote buying, usually they won't vote for them. They won't get the tickets of the various political parties to stand for elections. So it boils down to the value system. Growing up as a child, it was very difficult for you to see money on the ground and you pocket it. First of all, you'll be scared that maybe a charm has been sprinkled on it. Two, you know that if your parents get to know about it, you'll be severely punished. But these days, because the system has collapsed, you know, everybody is running after money. It is not the way to go. We have to sit down and reorientate ourselves so that we'll be able to attach more importance to competence, capability, as against money.
And a moral value.
Yes, a moral value.
It's a systemic issue.
Yes.
And because of the psychology that we have, there is need for us to start to change our orientation, our thinking. By the time we start doing this gradually, we know it's a very long journey, but we have to start from somewhere. Yeah. And that's the reason why we are here.
Okay. Agboola, what will be the benefits of this intervention to potential voters, INEC, party agents, and all others involved in this project?
Yeah, thank you very much. The aim of this project, or the goal of the project, is to ensure a credible, free and fair election in Bayelsa 2019, 16th November. And in achieving this, we believe that one, if INEC were trained, they are going to oversee the election, not only overseeing it, but ensuring that they bring out people that can go to the field and do it in a more transparent way, that they will be able to identify and report, and to ensure that there is a free and fair election on the voting day. Apart from that, the security officers, if they were well trained, we believe that they were doing their best, but there is need for them to be professionally trained. Part of what we are doing is that if they were trained, they will be able to put an end to some level of manipulations through the different court group or whatever, or people that may like to infringe on the right of the people. And in ensuring that voters come out, we are trying to carry out public awareness, sensitization, that we allow voters to have the courage to come and exercise their franchise, that they believe that if there's a platform for them to come out, they will not be afraid to vote for the candidate of their choice. So in engaging all these different stakeholders, we believe that this intervention will go a long way. And at the end of the day, not only recording a peaceful atmosphere during the 2019 November 16, but in future Nigerian election, we believe that other people can learn from it, and it will go a long way.
Ekong?
Yeah. The voters, what they stand to benefit will include the knowledge that will be impacted on them through various sensitization programs, trainings that we will be organizing for them. And knowledge is power. Once they are well empowered, they will be able to take the right decision during the elections. They'll also be able to know that it is not good to be involved in all the vices associated with the electoral process.
Please, does the environmental challenges impede your work in any way, especially Bayelsa?
Okay, in designing the project, we thought about that, and that informed our partnerships with other local organizations who will have access to difficult terrains, within the state. There are organizations, local NGOs, CSOs that are domiciled already in these LGAs, these difficult areas. So I don't think we'll have much issues with regards to environmental challenges.
Well, you may not be using arms, you may not be using security apparatus, but your work is a very Herculean one.
Yes.
Where does your strength lie?
One, we are speaking for the people, and we believe in the course of our programming, the people, the citizens will provide shelter for us. We are not armed, just like you said.
And we are not taking side. We are not collecting money from politicians.
So on the realization that we are not partisan, rather that we are trying to promote the growth of democracy and credible elections in the state, I think the people, that alone will make them to support us in whatsoever we're going to do in the course of this program.
Yes, we are almost rounding off. Agboola, your party shot.
Yeah, I just want to encourage our listeners to ensure that they participate in this program, because in the course of the program we've not had any female caller, and these are one of the issues we have realized over time, that women always sit back when it comes to issues like this. So we want people to really participate and to ensure that they spread the news across to people, listeners, to ensure that Creek FM is well known as a result of this program.
They don't participate, yet they agitate for 35% affirmation.
Yeah.
Okay, still talking about gender mainstreaming.
Yes.
It is important to inform our listeners that in this particular project, we've already factored in equal gender participation in all aspects of the project, ranging from the trainings that we'll be offering. We'll strive to make sure that it's 50%.
Yes. Why don't you have
participants?
Why don't you have a woman in your team, as you are seated?
Okay. In subsequent editions,
the
we'll be featuring, because we have lots of them who are in the team.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think, gentlemen, it is on this note we have to say bye-bye for today. Honestly, it has been very interactive, and you have a lot in your kitty. And in subsequent editions, I think we'll be making more inroads and appeal to the consciences of the people. It is on this note I want to say a very big thank you to my guests, Samuel Agboola, Project Team Lead, Joseph Ekong, Project Officer. And the program is powered by Stakeholder Democracy Network, SDN. Gentlemen,
and supported by UNDEF,
United Nations Democracy Fund,
Yes.
UNDEF. Gentlemen, thank you for investing your time with us.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.
You're welcome.
On behalf of the producer, Amos Owefair, and the entire production crew, I want to thank you very much for making it a day with us. This is where the entire staff and the general manager of Creek FM is saying thank you for making this program a success. My name is Aibatone Rubula. Thank you very much.
I know.
Amos.
Son.
Amos.
Son.
Amos.
Son.
Amos.
Son.
Amos.
Son.
Amos.